Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage, and today we're going to be having a look at Algorand. It's continued to break down as we were saying in the previous video, so we're going to be discussing what is going on. Let's get into the price action. So primarily what we've been discussing is looking for that potential that this could actually look to be breaking down. We were looking for the potential of an extension to the upside here, but the fact that we came down below this low here has actually invalidated that possibility. Now, there is still some potential that we could see a move to the upside still, and still actually coming back into this zone of this 3203 to this 3968. The problem is we are still following that bearish count that we previously discussed in the video. And what we were talking about is basically looking for the potential of a bigger breakdown here, where we're looking at this as potentially a 1-2-1-2. So this is still another option that is viable. We could be looking for a much deeper breakdown towards the zone of this $10.76 for a third wave here. That would make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'd be looking for anticipating a deeper move once again in an additional fifth wave. It could look to actually take us down into this lower range. So the other way we were discussing this move was actually looking at this as a breakdown in this manner, where we're looking at this as 1, 2, 3, and then looking at this as potentially as a triangle. If this is the case, basically our target area is actually this 1674 to this 1508. The problem is there is a way we can count this move here as an additional 1 and a 2. So we need to just be careful that this is not actually just a three-wave move up here, and then we're looking to break down in a bigger way. So the only way this works is as a triangle, as a fourth wave here, because of the fact that we have some overlap, and the fourth wave would have just completed below that point. So now, with that said and done, what we'd be looking for is the potential to come into this 1674 to this 1508 area. The problem I have with this count is it is substantially bigger. So, there is still a bullish option where as long as we maintain this 1598 region, we could look to actually hold this zone and push directly up. However, if we fail to hold this, what we could actually have here is still a viable count as a fourth wave would be something like this as a flat correction. So we need to just be aware that even if we do break down and we take this low, we could look to be forming, still forming a fourth wave here. So this could mean that we'd see a move to the upside again and then continuation down. So we need to just be aware of this. Alternatively, we could look for a deeper move into this area here. Now, out of these two options, I would be potentially preferring this one in the way that the structure is forming currently, but we'd have to see a move down towards this zone of this $10.76 for confirmation. So let's come in here and discuss this on the smaller time frame. So I'm going to just switch over here and we're going to discuss the internals here. So we were talking about this a while back. I haven't done a video on this since the 12th, and we came down to that zone. We were talking about this 1802 to the 1749 area. So I've done a revised version of this, just getting rid of some of the noise. So what I'm looking out for here is that potentially what we have here is a third wave completed. Now, there could be some further extension in here where actually we start to break down deeper, where this becomes another 1, 2, and then we look to push down even further into, some of these lower areas. Because of the fact we're looking at that lower wave target, we need to be careful that we don't have something that is still actually extending out. And if we had to have a break to the downside now, I'm just going to go off of this high point here directly down towards this 1534, that would indicate to me that we're getting further extension here. And what this would mean is that we are still within a bigger move here, being a third wave, and then we'd be looking for this fourth wave to come up higher at a later point. At the moment, though, we don't have anything that's indicating that we're going to break down deeper here. This could be a move up towards this high again as a corrective structure. So what I'm looking out for is basically to see a fourth wave develop here, looking for this zone of this 2010 to this 1849. Technically speaking, we've come up to this, but time-wise, we've got a much bigger wave 2 if this is the case. So what I'd want to see is something a bit more complicated playing out here, and taking a bit of time to play out in this zone, looking for this possibility of an additional fourth and a fifth. That's why if we break directly down here, this would indicate to me that we're actually extending out within this wave here, and would potentially mean that this fifth wave is extending and it could look to push down lower. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. As long as we hold this low here of the 1716, we could look for a three-wave structure to the upside to develop, where basically this becomes A, this becomes B, and then we get a C wave up. But we have to maintain this low, otherwise, basically, what we could see is this move just break down directly again and head towards that lower target of that 1.618. So now the one-to-one of this would actually bring us back into this high. So if we do just see a three-wave move up here, something like this, what I'd then be looking for is the potential to come back down and find support and then look to push up again, something like this, looking possibly for this higher line of this 20 cent 10. But at the moment, I am still focused on lower. So until we actually break back above this 2010 area, I would be looking for continuation to the downside. And what I'd be looking for is that this would be my primary count, looking for a fourth and a fifth wave to the downside here. Obviously, like I said, these can extend directly, so we need to just be careful of that fact. So now the other way we can look at this move is that potentially what we have here is rather something as a bigger corrective move to the downside. And if this is the case, what we'd be looking at is something like this, where actually instead of counting this as a 1, 2 from here, what we do is we count this whole move as a corrective structure into this point here. And what we would be looking for is basically from the high point here, if I zoom out a little bit, looking at this move as a W, this is an X, and then we're looking for that possibility of an A, B, and a C. So if we do break higher than that 2010 area, what I would be looking out for is this zone here, this 2193 to this 24. We could see something play out here like a bigger three-wave corrective structure, and then see this being A, B, and C. Though the five-wave structure is my primary count, I'm also just keeping an eye on this because of how choppy this area is here. We could see that actually this is just a bigger corrective move. Now, if we do break down to this one-to-one here, what we would have to be looking out for then is the fact that this could be an A wave, this could be a B wave, and then we're looking for that C wave to the upside. We were talking previously about the potential that, this could be an A or wave one, looking for a two and then a third wave up, or alternatively an ABC. But the way we're starting to break down here, it's becoming less likely that that is actually in play. It has not invalidated, though, however where we have something like this, where this is actually a five-wave move into this area here. This would then be A, B, and C for an A wave. We're looking for this as an X wave, and then potentially looking for this as a Y wave to the downside. Now, the problem with this is that the one-to-one would actually take us to this zone here of this 16, 17. So if we do break down here and instead we fail to actually develop that fourth wave, and what we actually get here is just a three-wave move, A, B, and C, which comes down to this area. Potentially what this means is we could have a corrective structure complete. It could technically be completed here if we're not going to get an additional fourth wave. But what we need to see is a break back above these highs. So I'm going to be monitoring this move now to see how we develop to the upside. If we develop something like this as a five-wave structure, come back down, find support above these areas here of this 1809, what we could then see is a third wave progressing to the upside here. But we'd have to get back above this key level here. For as long as we remain below this key level, I would be focused on continuation to the downside. So this is going to be a key important zone for us to get back above this 2339. If we fail to do that, I'm going to be looking for that potential of that direct sell-off. And really, once we start to break down past this zone of this 1598, the idea of having a bigger third wave here becomes invalidated. It is still possible, though. However, we could see this move break down to that lower one-to-one area, which would be over here. If I just measure this high again into here, so this 1428 region, and then still looking for that possibility to come up in a C wave, just that we would have to treat this as a flat correction in that case. So, if we lose this low, potentially could mean we're extending out in an impulse, but really would have to just be cautious we don't have a bigger flat here, in which case what we could then see is a move that could look to actually bring us back up towards the zone of this 3402, if that is the case. So I'm going to be watching this. The lower support zone that we really want to hold, we've come down to the 0.854. We have moved back above the 786. But what I want to see is this actually hold now. I want to see this become a 1, 2, then we get a 3, 4, and a 5. looking to break away from this higher area here. We need to get back above this zone of this 20 cent 37 to get ourselves out of this area where we could still find an additional fourth and a fifth. So yeah, I mean that's what we're going to be looking out for. Primarily, the count that I'm looking for is this one here. Want to see whether we get an additional fourth wave here and then continuation down. And like I said, however, really until we take this high, we need to be cautious of this move to the upside. What I'd want to see for more bullish confidence here, if we're going to look for that potential to move up, would be a move back above this 1883, consolidating and finding support above this area, and then looking to move away and getting above this zone of this 2010 region. If we do move up, invalidation of the fifth wave would come here at this 20 cents 68. So that would be this red line, basically in line with this low here. If we do move back up past this zone, we'd have to treat this just as a three-wave move. And then what we want to see is if we manage to form good structure to the upside. If we do, potentially it could mean that we are looking to invalidate this potential of having this continuation to the downside. But really, even if we do break up past this wave one, we need to get back up above this 2352. Otherwise, this could actually just set us up for an additional 1 and a 2 here, and we could break down deeper. So it's going to be important to see whether we can actually manage to get back primarily above this key high, then above this 50% at this 2010. If we fail to do so, it could actually mean that this is going to continue to break down in a bigger way and potentially look for these lower ranges here towards this 1667 to this 1591. That would be within this single count here. And then from there, we'd have to monitor this move to the upside. Corrective structure in three waves would indicate that we're going to see some continuation to the downside and potentially see some of these lower targets come in towards this 1378 to this 1085. And if we do break down into these lower levels, what we need to be careful of is there is a potential other way of counting this where we do have an additional fourth and a fifth. So this will be important to see what happens if we do start to break down into these areas. We're going to have to watch the previous structures and look at the key support zones and watch how the structure moves up. Three-wave structure up would indicate further continuation down. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. Let us know down below if you managed to take advantage of these moves with the TA that I previously provided, because I did put that out quite a while ago. So I'm just interested to see if anyone managed to take advantage of that. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. As well as that, you'll find affiliate links for both PrimeXBT and BYBIT down there. Both great exchanges we use on a regular basis. Check them out for yourself if you do not have an account. Using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. Everyone, have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.